everybody. Mr. Z back with another one. Indigo Flow said hootie hoo. Master P and True hootie hoo. Oh man, for all of you from the Northeast, y'all don't know nothing about that. That's Master P and No Limit. That's their heyday. Hootie hoo. I love that instrumental, by the way. It's a really dope instrumental. Dope beat. So let me preface. First let's do our intros. What am I doing? Um, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Um, definitely like on your way in, and let's do our preference. So let's preface this, excuse me, by saying, so one, Mr. Z doesn't hate white people, nor seriously dislikes white people. So let's say that. Number two, let's also say that we know that Sarge Willie Pete knows what I'm about to say for the most part. I disagree with him on something, which I'm going to touch on in a little bit, but I'm not saying anything necessarily new or revealing to Sarge Willie Pete. So, so let's get into it. So the title of this video is The Psychological Wage of W, which is psychological wage of whiteness. And what I'm speaking to is, first of all, it's a quote from W.E.B. Du Bois, or for those of us that speak Creole or French, it's Du Bois, but okay. And the psychological wage of whiteness is what Sarge Willie Pete was speaking about, and it's poorer or middle class white folks that's being screwed by elite white folks, but for them, race trumps class, so they align with the rich white elite. This is where you get a lot of your poor and middle class Trump voters. Contrary to popular belief, it was mainly those that are further up towards the top that voted for Trump. So a lot of people overemphasize the poor whites that voted for Trump. It wasn't what y'all think it was. It was really more of the upper middle class and above that voted for Trump. But they got to keep their businesses and all that other stuff, right? So what else are we speaking about? So as Sarge Willie Pete spoke about this, it's obvious, okay? Yes, these people they're going to drown all of their sorrows in religion. They're going to drown all their sorrows in respectability politics. They're going to overemphasize feminism. They are going to overemphasize, and as black men, we understand the shortcomings and the drawbacks in how feminism, especially second wave feminism and intersectionality, has been used to marginalize our particular plight. How it's been used to essentially practice benign neglect within the black community against black men specifically. So white men can't really tell us anything about that. And where I will disagree with Sarge Willie Pete vehemently is that class trumps race in America. Yes, class should trump race in America. Emphasis on the word should, right? But it doesn't, nor has it ever. It is race above class because white people think it's race before class, and their population dictates that's race before class, even though the poor whites and the working class and the lower middle are struggling, right? Even though they are struggling. So for them, it is race before class, right? What did President Johnson tell us? And I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember it word for word. But if you give a white man something to look down on, not only will he empty his pockets for you, he will show you where to go get more, right? This is Democratic president, right? President Johnson. What did Lee Atwater tell us with the Southern Strategy, right? What did Nixon tell us with the Southern Strategy, right? So you get this over and over again from left or right. So the everyday average white person who either really doesn't know, which I don't know how you don't know with this past 400 plus years of American history, or the ones that are pretending like they don't know, those are the ones that are really dangerous. They are okay with sacrificing their position. They will cut their nose to spite their face. They do not want to see Jamal in spite their face. Race does trump class. And you know, once again, I'm not saying anything that Sarge Willie Pete doesn't know or doesn't understand, but you know, they've had 400 years of history with America essentially blowing smoke up their rear end, right? And Sarge Willie Pete is right with the labor laws. White people, the everyday, average white folk, you know, the ones that the divestors and the swirlers ignore it actually exist, they've had to fight for every single thing. Not as much as black people, not even close. But the reason why they're not working 7 days a week, 12 plus hours a day, is because of these things. And by the way, the elites are finding a really interesting way of reclaiming all of these things that black and white folk and indigenous folk and Latino folk have fought for over the past few decades, over the past couple centuries, right? The gig economy was just us returning right back to all of the labor rights things that we fought against over the past century or so, century and a half, right? But the white folks that continue to cut their nose to spite their face, the white men in particular, let them be. I get where Sergeant Willie Pete is going. We definitely have people and we need people that tell these people, hey, you know you sound crazy as hell, right? You know you're screwing yourself over, right? I understand that. But if these people are not students of history and they refuse to learn, then so be it. And if that means that this country goes to hell in a handbasket because everyday regular ass white dudes have delusions of grandeur, or have a delusion that one day their little mom and pop shop or their little BS LLC is going to turn into a multi-billion-dollar business, then let them be. If they think they're going to be the one to win the lottery, or if they just get off on watching elite white people, right, screw over people of color, then so be it. This reminds me of those white folks that get off on watching Ben Shapiro go to colleges, right, and out-talk some 19, 20-year-old on a college campus, right? Why are you connected to this elite dude whose entire purpose is to protect his wealth and his position? That's why he is the way he is. And you see that. You see white folks, particularly white men, who align with these social commentators whose entire existence is to justify their wealth position, right? They're engaging in the culture war because they really don't actually want you to think about your material position, right? They don't actually want you to think about the tangible. Shout out to Tariq Nasheed. They don't actually want working class and poor Americans, white Americans, to think about how they're being screwed by the Jeff Bezos of the world. You literally got Jeff Bezos, regardless of race, have people peeing in bottles, and these same white folks cheer people like him on. Ben Shapiro's mum's the word when it came to that. Where was Jordan Peterson when it came to that? All of those people, where was Ramsey when it came to that? They were quiet as hell because they tacitly agree with Jeff Bezos doing that. Where are those people when Bill Gates and Steve Jobs is not hiring neither white or black kids, is not advocating for these people to go to have these tech programs in their schools so that we can hire American students? Where are Dave Ramsey? Where are they? Where's Ben Shapiro? Right? I know Peterson is Canadian, but where are they? They're nowhere to be found. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Right? They're nowhere to be found because they agree with it. They agree with having Bill Gates bring these people in on H-1B visas for the cheap. And yet your poor and working class white folk is nowhere to be found when this is happening. Why? Because you think you're safe. You're not safe. Right? So I get where Sarge Willie Pete is going. Once again, I know I'm not telling him anything he doesn't know. But if I have to state the obvious, then so be it. Right? These white folks are willing to cut their nose to spite their face, particularly these white men, because they do not want to operate in a world that's actually 100% equal and fair, and where they rise and fall off of their own work ethic and merit. They always want the game skewed in their favor, and that's understandable. And if all they have is rhetorical victories because of the culture war, right? If that's all they have, they'll take it. Most of them will take that. If they don't get any real victories, all they have is this is these weird psychological victories, these rhetorical victories, then they'll take it. So be it. Let them drown, and let them, and Jeff Bezos and Ben Shapiro, and yes, I know Ben Shapiro's Jewish, and Ben Shapiro and all of those guys and George W. Bush and Bill Clinton are all the same. Black people learn real quick that us and Barack Obama are not the same people. It didn't take us 2 centuries, right? So if white folks want to speak about, and I agree with Sarge Willie Pete 100% when he speaks about religion, right? Only buying you some time. And that's all it is. All it's doing is buying you some time. As I said before in a previous video, what you think? You're going to be poor and get married and just keep on hitting your wife upside the head with some Bible verses? Have fun with that. Poor or working class, and you're just going to keep on hitting your wife upside the head with Bible verses and that's going to fix everything. No. And we already know this, right? And we see this already, right? But white folks, on the other hand, is a completely different story. White men in particular. And these are the same people, mind you, that want you to drop your racial identity and every once in a while align with them so that we can fight the bigger evil. And then, like Sarge Willie Pete, and then the second the victory comes with you, get back to the basement. So of course I got disconnected again. But yeah, no, it's these people aligning with these elite white folks that mean them no good, right? It truly is. Spain, man. I can't laugh correctly because I got this cold I'm dealing with, so. Right. And so I get where Sarge Willie Pete is coming from, and it doesn't necessarily come off like he was pleading, right? I get him venting, I get him speaking about this in the way that he was, but these people don't care. They truly align psychologically with the elite to their own detriment, and they can't see outside of that bubble. They can't. That's the lens at which they view the world in, or they view the world outside of that. And all we're doing as working class black people that are telling them, hey, you know those rich white elite people don't mean good by you anyway. We're wasting our breath. We truly are. We are wasting our breath talking to these people. Because they think the elite is looking out for them. They think there's some type of like victory that they get when the elite screw over working class people. I mean, I would like to direct you to the air traffic controllers, right? In Ronald Reagan, how many regular white folks were cheering that on, not realizing what that would mean for them and their children and their grandchildren, right? How many white folks were cheering that on? Right? And what are black people going to do? Right? What are black people going to do with the majority of the nation having this connection to the people that are destroying the nation through their economy, through their money, right? Slowly taking back all the things that black, white, indigenous, Latino, but mainly black and white ancestors fought for in this country over the past 2 centuries. All the labor rights laws, all the human rights laws, all the civil laws, right? They're slowly clawing that back. They're slowly calling these things something other than what they were before. But the end result is that you work 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week. You don't have any dental, you don't have medical. You don't have an HR to go to dispute your being fired. Right? And then the same people that are being screwed by this oftentimes advocate for it anyway while they're literally being screwed by it. As a matter of fact, some of them see it as a bragging point. Yeah, man, I work 50 plus hours a week. I work 60 plus hours a week. I work 60 plus hours a week. It's nothing to brag about. Because if you're a real American and if you're a real man, what if you're a real man? Talking about pawpaw, white men are becoming pawpaw too. White men are becoming pawpaw. You work yourself to the bone, you die. Your grandkids don't know who the hell you are. You just a portrait in the living room. Meanwhile, your daughters are on some super feminist stuff talking about men ain't ish when their entire existence is because of you. Train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. Right? And quite frankly, to a certain extent, white men deserve this. The everyday, regular white guy deserves this. You're too busy fighting the BS culture war instead of actually looking at the tangibles and seeing why you live actually in a precarious state. You keep on thinking it's just the government. Okay, fine. Who's buying the politicians? Oh, wait a minute. Fine. The politicians are corrupt. They're doing the bidding of who? Oh, you think it's just rich elite liberals? Huh? Y'all aligned with the super scammer, Elon Musk. Now y'all realize he may not be as business savvy as y'all thought he was. Now what? Y'all were cheering him on when he told the government, he gave the government a big birdie, a middle finger, when they were trying to shut down everything during COVID, and he told them, no, I'm not shutting down anything. Y'all aligned with him. Now what? Y'all aligned with George W. Bush. Now what? Right? Look at all the people you align with and why you align with them, and then look how they screw you over in the long run. Right? Y'all voted for Donald Trump and uberly enthusiastically. That's not even a phrase. Right? Look how enthusiastic you guys were to vote for Donald Trump. Means you no good. Every deal he ever made with a small business person, he screwed them. But you still align with him because you're living vicariously through him. You wish you were the one buying women. Right? You wish you were in his position. You wish you had all that gaudy gold. You wish you were handed a silver spoon up your rear end like he was. Right? Y'all give me a second. Y'all talk amongst yourself. Give me a second. So, the psychological wage of whiteness is definitely what we're living. Um, and all non-black people are subject to this. This is why it's so difficult for white folks to align with you, particularly conservative white folks, but even liberal white folks to a certain extent, right? Because they can't see outside of that. They cannot see outside of that. So, for Mr. Z, it's let them be. Let them crush this country into a pole. Unfortunately, the rest of us, if we don't grab that steering wheel, we will be victims also, right? I'm gonna pause right here again. Give me a second, y'all. On a side note, on a side note, it's always interesting when you go get something to eat, and they're being timed, so they always tell you to pull to the side if they know it's going to take them too long, or they ask you to back up and then move back forward, right? All these little like tricks, so that they don't get caught up, like being 5 or so minutes after the timer goes off, right? But yeah. So you know, Sarge Willie Pete makes a great point, and I think there have been black people throughout American history that have attempted to attempted to have this conversation with your everyday black folk, right? And excuse me, attempted to have this conversation with your everyday white folk, and it's been very difficult because your everyday white person just can't hear it, right? And that's understandable. Of course, they can't hear it. Their entire existence, their parents' existence, their grandparents' existence is built off of the idea that I'm only one, right? I'm a temporarily embarrassed millionaire, and I'm only one situation away from making it big. And why would I ever sacrifice that with higher taxes, right? Because I'm only one situation away from being a millionaire. And so I don't want to raise taxes now because I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow, right? And I don't want to even the odds because I don't want you lowly people on my same level when I win the lottery tomorrow, right? And I don't want your kids. This is, once again, I would like to direct you. I mention this all the time, the college school scandal, right? I will sell y'all on do for self and rugged individuality and working yourself to death to get into the best Ivy League school possible, or just the best university possible, maybe one of the second tier schools. I will sell you on that. Meanwhile, I'm literally buying my kids' way into school. And a couple of these people actually have foundations for at-risk youth. So think about that. You have foundations for at-risk youth, which, in other words, for black folks, right? You have foundations for young black kids that are struggling. Meanwhile, you're literally taking their opportunity off the table by paying for your kids to go to schools that they might not be deserving of. Not even might be. They're probably not deserving of, right? And these are the people that your everyday white folk align with. So it is cut your nose to spite your face for them. It is that. And I don't, the question is, can black people in particular, I don't know what people of color we have as allies, so I don't even want to mention that, but can black people find a workaround around these people that are willing to sabotage themselves, us, and everyone just because they have some off chance idea or some idea of an off chance lottery dream, right? And for them, race trumps class. And that's my biggest pushback to Sarge Willie Pete. No, in America, race trumps class, and it always has. Not because it should, but because your everyday white folk see themselves as white first. They don't think about their income position. They don't think about their class position. They don't look at their savings account and shake it and see there's nothing but dust in there and say, maybe I should align with the working class and struggling black people. No, they find some interesting way of blaming those same black people, or blaming some Keisha that don't got nothing either, or blaming some Mexican that doesn't have anything either, driving around in a 20-plus-year-old car, or better yet, 20-plus-year-old beat-up truck, working construction at $15 an hour, right? And so these people align with these people, the everyday white folk, the Roseannes of the world, the Connors of the world, align with the rich white elite who mean them no good at the detriment of everyone, including, in particular, black people. They live vicariously through Donald Trump. I would like to direct you to how many white folks voted for Donald Trump. White men in particular. Wasn't it some 60-some-odd%? Right? Even white women. Why? Because white women see themselves, or they would like to be Melania Trump any day over Hillary Clinton. Right? And the Democrats truly forgot that. Johnson told them in the 60s, but they truly forgot, or pretending like they don't know, or they forgot, how much you can speak to your everyday white folk, put the tangible, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to raise taxes on this. We're going to shut down these loopholes here. We're going to do all of that, right? And that's going to be better for you. We're going to direct some of these funds to your public schools, to your libraries. We're going to try to direct some of this money to STEM degrees for your everyday children. And these people will be like, but is it going to benefit black people too much? Look, it's going to benefit black people too much. Yeah, we don't want it. I mean, there's studies that show this. If it looks like something's going to benefit, if a program is going to benefit black people too much, then white folks are not with it. This is why you see Democrats often use really benign language when addressing you as black folks. Or they can't directly say, yeah, this is going to benefit you disproportionately, or it's going to benefit you more than anyone else by far. It is a twofer. It is messed up. I understand where Tariq Nasheed and Jason Black are coming from when they say these people refuse to say our names directly. It is a catch-22 because they know that white folks will be like, yeah, no, we'll burn the country to the ground before we let you benefit black people. They're supposed to be the permanent underclass. And I think that's something that certain black folks are realizing more and more. And this is where you get black people playing with hyper individuality more and more, right? This is where you get black people playing with because the wage of blackness, now we're talking about the wage of blackness. And if I could just separate from you Negroes, whether that's through money, through class, femininity, through my sexuality, through my masculinity, then I'll do it. I'm not black, I'm OJ. Because black people realize that blackness, being black in America, and speaking like a stereotypical black person, I'm not saying like an ignorant black person, right? Having a predominantly black identity, black people understand that that's a weight around their neck. And so what many black people, young black people in particular, are engaging in is this hyper individuality because of the permanent underclass of black people. Because black people are supposed to be the permanent underclass dictated by your everyday white folk. And obviously your elite white folk. But they're so far above it, they don't ever have to actually say it. Or imply it. Or suggest it, actually. Shout out to Indigo Flow. Indigo Flow says, game been messed up since Bacon's Rebellion. Exactly. Since then, they got white people's number, and they know how to get them every single time with the BS. Particularly white men. They'll fall for it, and I struggle to say fall for it. I'm reluctant to say fall for it because they're not being tricked. It's less a trick than it is, I have to feel better than you. I have to know I'm better than you. And so I don't know if it's really they're falling for it. It's willful ignorance, better yet. The difference between ignorance and willful ignorance is you're willfully ignoring. You're willfully not. You don't want to even look in that direction because you don't want to know. All right? It's not that you don't know just because you don't know. No, you purposely ignore. I'm never going to look right because I don't want to know. I'm never going to look left because I don't want to know. And that's your everyday white people, particularly white men. I don't want to know anything about international politics and history. I don't want to know what the U.S. has done in my name. The black people have known about Tulsa, Oklahoma since the 1920s. We've always known it. You got white folks on the margins just now finding out about Tulsa, Oklahoma within the past couple years. You don't know because you don't want to know. You don't know about redlining because you don't want to know. And there's even studies that it gets worse, y'all. It gets worse. There's even studies that when you tell white children about this, guess what? They click up even more. So when you tell white children and white adolescents that much of the reason why they're in the positions they're in is because the game has been rigged for them in their favor, they do their absolute best to continue that and perpetuate that. So the question then becomes, once again, like I asked before, what are black people supposed to do with this, and how do we work around this? Knowing that they're going to attempt to sabotage you, because that needs to be at the forefront of every black person's mind. I'm going to try my absolute best. I'm going to connect with other like-minded black people that's about their business, right? I'm going to marry another black person that's about this. And these people are going to attempt to sabotage me every step of the way. They're going to attempt to whisper in my comrades' ears, in my woman's ears, in my man's ears, in my children's ears. Right? And excuse me, once again, I have a cold a little bit, so, pardon the sniffling and breathing loud and all of that. Even if you notice my voice is a little different, my apologies. Right? So what you have is everyday white folks who are willing to screw themselves in the long run to screw you in the short run. And all of your elite know it. All of your white elite know it. And black people continue to try to tell these people, hey, y'all are screwing yourselves with this race thing. You realize these people are not your allies. You realize these people don't care anything about you. You realize that they're screwing you just as much as they're screwing us, maybe a little bit less. So let white men be. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Right? Let white men be. Right? If this is what they want, then let them. I see Sergeant Willie Pete speaking. Like I said, I vehemently disagree with him on it should be about class. And yeah, it should be about class, but it's not. It's not. These people get off. They live vicariously through Donald Trump. Right? Y'all ever been around a white person and they purposely misspell, or not misspell, excuse me. They purposely mispronounce another person's name, a foreign descent or a weird name or a different name? You could tell they're purposely mispronouncing it because they're showing their Americanness. I remember watching Bill O'Reilly do that with Nas' name. Nas. Right? They get off on that. They get off on the disrespect because for them, this Judeo-Christian manifest destiny white project is superior to everyone else. They're the true culture. Everything else is cute. Oh, Japanese culture, that's cute. The Egyptians, oh, that's cute. Right? The indigenous folks with their Native American language and oh, that's cute. Africans all across the all of that, those African countries and their thousands of years of history, that's cute. They can't see outside that bubble. So they actively disrespect it and belittle it. If it didn't come from Europe, it didn't happen. Never mind that all the characters in the Bible were either Middle Eastern or African. I'm just saying. The Bible takes place in pretty much two places, the Middle East and Africa. Right? But these people can't see outside. So that's why they purposely mispronounce certain names, certain words. It's not Iraq or Iran. It's Iraq and Iran. It's not Farrakhan. It's Farrakhan. That's on purpose. That's them telling you, F you and your religion, F you and your language, F you and your names. Right? F you and your culture. We're on top now. Everything that happened pre-Greeks didn't happen. Mali being the predominant empire, along with a couple of Middle Eastern empires during the air quotes dark ages, which was only dark for the Europeans. That era didn't matter. It doesn't matter. Nearly 1,000 years of dark ages for Europeans doesn't count. Right? If it happened between Rome falling and the Enlightenment period, it didn't happen. Right? And so, of course, white men Once again, psychological wage of whiteness. Of course, they can't see themselves aligning with black people. Of course, they're gonna try to bury themselves with some religion, some respectability politics, some stick to it witness. If I just work hard enough, work myself into an early grave, then I'll get respect. No. Your ex-girlfriend just gonna leave, just gonna bury you, crocodile tears, and go to the next dude. Maybe even a black dude. Goddamn. Notice I didn't say wife on purpose. Because if you're poor and lower working class right now as a white man, you're not getting married. Y'all know Mr. Z likes doing this. White men, this applies to you too. 26% of poor Americans are married, 39% of middle class, 56% of upper middle class and above. That's all American men, not just black men. So if you're a poor white man, you could try to marry her if you want to. She's going to file for divorce on your ass. Give it about 5 to 7 to 8 years. You're not going to make it to the 10-year mark. Put money on it. So as they're living this horrible existence, as they're struggling, as they're barely making it, they refuse to just open up the window blinds to see what's going on outside. They won't even, forget walking outside. They won't even open the window blinds. So let them deal with the consequences. Right? I get what, once again, I don't think I'm saying anything that Sergeant Willie Pete doesn't know. I just thought it was crucial to speak the absolute obvious, unapologetically, and speak it like he doesn't know. Because we have to be honest that working class men are willing to cut, working class white men, excuse me, are willing to cut their nose to spite their face. They live vicariously through the rich white elite men. They get off seeing rich white elite men screw over other people of color while he's secretly screwing over those same white men that are getting off watching him screw over people of color. They watch the debates. They watch Ben Shapiro. They watch Jordan Peterson, Dr. Jordan Peterson, rip these young people apart in college, not realizing those people don't mean you no good either. But you think Jordan Peterson, look how hard it was for Jordan Peterson to admit and to finally come to the realization, oh, wait, these men. Remember what he told Hafiz? Y'all forgot? Or Hafiz, excuse me. Well, the women have a point. If the women are saying this, then maybe they're right. You think he was only talking about black men? Everybody defaults to, yeah, the problem with these men, they don't want to take showers. They don't want to wipe their rear end. They don't want to brush their teeth and put on good clothes and keep their room clean. That's the problem. Their hygiene is crap. They don't take school seriously. They're immature. That's the problem. That includes you, white men. Y'all got to deal with those bratty ass white women, and your parents are telling you that you can't get married to her because it's your fault. You got to deal with these spoiled, entitled, bratty Karens and try to make an honest wife out of her. And try to make it to at least the 20+ year mark of marriage while your kids are in college so that then she could file for divorce on your ass. And you can't even do that, and then your parents are turning around and blaming you. It's not black people blaming you. We're blaming you for continuing to perpetuate the BS because you think you're one of these rich white elite men. Right? Thank you, Better You. Better You says, keep being great and striving, bro. I will try. I will try. I couldn't make a. I wanted to do a live, and I'm actually probably going to do a live a little bit later about kidology. In her recent video, we're probably going to speak about hyper individualism, right? That might be the next video. But I couldn't do it yesterday because Mr. Z, that flu was kicking. Whether it's a flu or cold, I really don't know the difference. All I know is you can't breathe and your nose is stuffy and you have the body shake and all that other stuff, right? And your voice sounds different and your taste buds are all out of whack. So I'll probably hold on for that kidology video probably later on tonight or maybe tomorrow morning. Right? Oh, this looks like a really good. Namer says Dr. Jordan Peterson is cognitive dissonance when it comes to social issues. He is out to lunch when it comes to subjects outside his expertise, air quotes expertise, and a religious ideologue. How do we know that? Well, he is. He is. And that, like Sergeant Willie Pete said, that's what they do with religion, right? Oh, everything is falling apart. Let's pray. Right? And as I said before, you can try to hide behind that Bible all you want. Your women don't hear it. Your women ain't hearing it. Yes, white women are materialistic as hell too. They're consumeristic as hell too. I don't even think consumeristic is a word, but you know what I mean. Right? So you can be poor, lower middle class, get this woman to marry you. Let's see how long that marriage lasts. And we're not speaking about the dynamics between white men and white women or black men and black women 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago. No, we're speaking about now. Start the clock now, marry her now, and let's see if you get to that 10, 15-year mark. Irreconcilable differences. No, the difference was the money. What she thought you should have made and what you actually made. Right? And I think I'll end with that. Look at we allowed Americans, white men, allowed for rich white elite to have the dominance over the conversation. Now you have rich white elite economists who've decided what love should look like, what relationships and friendships should look like. And now even white men, your everyday white man, can't deal with the insane concepts coming out of white women's mouth. Because you aligned with the rich white elite men, they turned around and manipulated the women, the girls who are now women, and now those women are looking down on you even when you make more than them. It's not enough more. Correct, Indigo. Indigo says, correction, what she felt you should have made. Right? And that's to the comment that I said, she's leaving you because of what she thought you should, what she felt you should have made. Exactly. Even if you make more than her, it's not enough more. I would like to direct y'all to the woman that called in the Kevin Samuel show, talking about her man who was in his 20s was making some 70+ thousand, when it was $75,000 a year or something. And she considered leaving him because he didn't make enough. Alexa, what percentage of the U.S. male population makes $75,000 a year or more? Like 20, 25? And that's towards the end of their life. She got a 20-something-year-old making that and she want to leave him. And you white men think you're going to beat that with a crap full of religion? Huh, okay. Shout out to Oliver the Great for the super sticker. Thank you very much, sir. Rage quit. right? And you know what's funny about that? Excuse me, y'all. That is what's going on with white men and black men right now. We can admit it. Some men are rage quitting, and right, they're rage quitting the game. Fine. You're gonna chastise me as a man for not building this or not doing that or not being on my sister's level, my girlfriend's level, my girl cousin's level. Fine, I quit. Right? Fine, I quit. It's interesting listening to white men chastise older white men chastise younger white men the way older black men chastise younger black men, minus the black Urus and the BGSs of the world. The Jordan Petersons and the Dave Ramseys, it's interesting listening to them do to young white men what older black men do to young black men. No, it ain't the women, it ain't the system, it's you. Yeah. You just pull your pants up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, should be good to go. Stop blaming others. Yeah. And it's even worse, excuse me, for white men in this one respect. At least black people have the conversation about systems. Yes, we have some of our conservative brethren that don't like to have that type of conversation, right? Because they think that's when we start veering too far into victim mentality. I understand. You know, shout out to some of my conservative brethren. I get it. But at least in the black community, we have conversations about systems and how systems function on people. In white society, they don't want to have none of that. The only time they want to speak that is when it comes to family court and when it comes to divorce and feminism. Outside of that, they don't want to have the systems talk, and you get into even worse situations now. Because now it's all about you. This is when hyper individuality bites you in the ass. Right? Indigo Flow said, I knew you were going to say pull your pants up. Yeah. Of course. Pull your pants up, pull yourself up by your bootstrap. By your bootstraps, excuse me. And work through this corrupt system. Yeah, we know it's corrupt. That's half the game. I would like to direct y'all. I can't remember when it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago when Fox News did this segment. I think it was even Laura Ingraham. Fox News did this segment, and it was one of the blondes on Fox News, the how many of them, hundreds of them, that did a segment speaking about how the 400 top people have the same wealth as the bottom half of America, or is 400 families, something along those lines. And even she was like, okay, this is too bad. This has gone too far. And the middle-aged white man or older white man that was on her show was like, this is a great thing. This is great. This inspires people to work harder, and you can get here too. 400 people have the same wealth as the bottom half of Americans. What's that? 160 some odd, 170 some odd million people in America? And you got this white man saying that's a great thing? These people are weird. And yet, your everyday white man doesn't get it? No, he gets it. He just doesn't want to. He doesn't want to own what this means for him. And he doesn't want the playing field to be even, so he's willing to fall with the ship. Fine, sink with the ship then. Right? Sink with the ship then. Excuse me, y'all. Let me blow my nose real quick. Mr. Z barely holding on, y'all. Barely. Well, y'all catching me better because yesterday, oh man. Yesterday, whew, could barely breathe. Right? But being the Haitian that I am and the black man that I am, I still went to work at both jobs. And my supervisor was like, "Are you sure you don't want to go home?" No, I'm good. I'll work. I'll work. I'll just stay away from everybody and I won't, pass it on. Because one of my coworkers passed it on to me. My girl called him patient zero, hysterical. Right? So we're coming to an end. I know I said that like twice already, you know. And I just wanted to respond to Sergeant Willie Pete with this. Once again, Sarge, I've been listening to you for over a decade. I remember you just forever ago, and I'll continue to listen. I just want to offer just a smidge, teeny tiny bit of pushback on that class Trump's race. No, it should Trump race. But I would like to direct you to this country's history, and you can see how many times, especially shout out to Indigo Flow, after Bacon's Rebellion, that white folk actually choose the right side when it comes to this. Your everyday white folk, right? What a Hada Soul said, throwing in the damn towel, for real. Right? So it's truly what's the word I'm looking for? Unfortunate. I think that's the best word for this. That your everyday white man, who should be aligning with your everyday black man, to fight for better working conditions and fight for better child custody laws and to fight for the boys, because the white boys are getting screwed now too in school. From my understanding, they're getting expelled more than even the black boys per capita, so there's that. Oliver the Great said, super spreader ass. Nope, no, none of my coworkers have this cold. So yes, they've been spared. Like I said, I stayed away. I kept my mask on. I kind of worked by myself, made sure that nobody would catch this. So, yep. I'm gonna work, but I'm gonna be a little considerate. Yes, Oliver the Gray. I did get the vitamin C. My lady got me these pills. I got the shout out to being Haitian. We got the ginger tea with the honey in it. Because by the way, if y'all don't know, I don't know about ADOS and FBA. Y'all could tell me if it's the same thing. But for Haitians, honey solves everything. Honey and everything. Honey will fix the world, right? You sick? Honey and tea leaves. Right? Honey and tea leaves, and you're gonna be okay. You could have a freaking war wound, and then honey and tea leaves will fix it. Right? So my mom texted my girl what to get, and she got it and made it for me, and I am feeling a whole lot better. I'm still not 100%, but I am feeling a whole lot better. Yesterday was horrible. Right? I went on Art New Style show for a little bit, and that was like the highlight of me feeling of like how I felt yesterday. Or well, that was last night. That was early morning, but yeah. Tori said I cut up ginger and put that shit in everything. I feel you. Especially this time of year, I would suggest everybody start drinking your orange juice, right? Get your ginger in your hand, right? Ginger tea, right? Afro National said, for FBA, it's ginger ale pop. I drank ginger ale last night too. Yes, ginger ale pop. Afro National, let me find out you from the Midwest. Because Midwesterners are the ones who say pop instead of soda. Me and Raj had a back and forth about this once. I think it's hysterical when I hear pop instead of soda. I mean, the original word was soda pop, right? So some of us now say soda and some of us say pop. But pop is always funny to me. I don't know why. I just always find it funny. But yeah. So Afro National says for FBA, it's ginger ale pop, ignoring issues and praying LOL. Yeah. Afro National said, I'm from Chicago. See, I knew it. Oh man, the northern Midwest, I'm telling you. Oh, see, ginger tea and lemon with ginger. I might try to get some lemon. Let me see where can I go to get some lemon with ginger right now? That might be my next bet to kind of kill this once and for all. It's already going away. I'm already feeling, like I said, a whole lot better compared to this time yesterday. Right? A whole lot better. Well, okay, let me for real end it out. Thank y'all for being here with me. Shout out to Sarge Willie Pete. Great commentary. I'm going to go check out those comments, I'm going to go try to find, if anybody knows the video that he was speaking about, link it in my link it in the comments, and I'll check out the comment section and see what he was on about, because I know I've engaged with these same people in real life and on YouTube in the comments and on Twitter. So like I don't doubt Sarge Willie Pete. I actually agree with him. I know exactly what he's saying, and I know that he's telling the truth on this one, because that's the same type of thing, you know, these people were hitting me with when I would have these conversations with them, you know, a few years ago online, right? Did he really? Indigo Flow said, didn't Sarge Willie Pete have the links in his description? I'll check. If he did, I'll you know, I'll check and read through them. But yeah, like I said, I've had these conversations with these people also. And like Sarge Willie Pete said, it is really all of that. It really is the religion talk. It really is I'm going to play down what you're saying about race. Oh, you're just a black man using excuses. It really, the same people that are incensed when older white dudes tell them to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, turn around and literally say it to you. Literally. They'll start blaming feminism. They'll start blaming, and this is the one place where I don't really blame feminism. I don't even really blame the white men, the white women so much, because this was orchestrated by rich white elite men primarily. They start blaming everyone except for their rich white elite brethren. Oh, it's the feminists. It's the blacks. It's the Mexicans. It's the people of color. It's the immigrants. It's the politicians. Yeah, but the politicians are being bought by who? That's always my argument when people start doing this. It's the politicians and they're corrupt. They're corrupted by what? By money. By whose money? Right? That's always the okay, these people are corrupt. They're corrupted by what? Money. Okay. By whose money? These people are selling us out. They're selling us out to who? No one ever want to have that conversation because you wish you were the one buying the politicians. Once again, I would like to direct out to Donald Trump. What did he say in that debate? I donate to everybody because when I call, they answer. Y'all wish y'all were him. So let me truly get out of here. All right. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Well, like, share, subscribe on your way out. I don't know why I'm saying super chat. You know, once again, I'll pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Thank you everyone for listening in. Shout out to Sarge Willie Pete. You know, the psychological wage of whiteness, y'all. That's what it is. That's what it is. These people they're willing to destroy themselves. You know, it's the self-destruct button. It's the self-destruct Pokemon, right? Shout out to all my Pokemon heads. Yeah, you die, but they die too. Right? So yeah. And that's where these people are. So be it. If they want to destroy, if they're willing to go down with the ship because they have this insane idea of them winning the lottery, fine then. Go down with the ship. Right? And I'll pause right here truly. All right, y'all. Mr. Z out.